Welcome. I'm Ada Kay, your deaf courtroom commentator, breaking down the gripping courtroom drama, providing ASL interpretation when possible, while making justice accessible to everyone. Grab your favorite cup of Java and let's dive in. Welcome, everybody. Good to see you tonight. I hope you're having a fabulous weekend. We have a special guest. We got him first. Oh my God, it's so awesome. We have the nephew to Tim Smith, Blake Riles, and he's going to come on in a minute. But before we bring him in, I want to do a quick case overview. I want to make sure my mic isn't too hot. It's hot to me. Anyway, this case, I didn't really know a lot about this case when we first started watching it, but it's really got under my skin. And first of all, I want to give my heartfelt condolences to the victim's family. I don't say that lightly. And I hope that this trial is now complete and they can start the healing process. So here are some of the key facts and information. Timothy Floyd Smith, age 59, Miami Herald. Robert Swilley was his husband of the victims. The location was Marion County, Florida. My ears are popping. Sorry. Allegations of the indictment. Basically, I'm going to give you a quick timeline. The death occurred late March 2023 on the 23rd, 4th, I believe. The authorities did a welfare check on or around March 25th of 23 after Smith failed to show up from work. The victim was allegedly drugged with a large amount of basically Benadryl. I'm really bad at saying the long names. Diphenhydramine, basically Benadryl, reportedly over 30 times the normal therapeutic dose. I think the number was over 2,000 milligrams or whatever. That's a lot. It basically incapacitated him. We're going to talk about the possibilities of how that had happened in a little bit. Allegedly, he was then strangled or choked to death with ligatures or other object evidence. According to the law enforcement, points to the ligature marks around the neck, trauma to the face, and possibly fracturing of the cervical spine. Well, it was fractured. In fact, it was ruptured on the inside, which head was forced very violently to the back. Alleged Swilley moved the body from their shared home to an apartment both owned. He then staged the apartment and made it look like a crime happened in the apartment. There are accusations of using cleaning chemicals such as bleach to try to remove or mask the evidence. The coroner made the comment that the body had started in some areas having dry patches, and it was really had a strong odor of bleach when the victim remains were delivered to the morgue. Deletion and tampering of the surveillance footage, removing and disposing of items, i.e. the carpets from the primary residence. What were the motive? Well, Smith reportedly planned to leave Swilley and take another job in a different county. Swilley stood to gain financially as a beneficiary in the insurance policy, $333,000. Forensic evidence was toxicology, where they found the Benadryl and the ligature marks and basically the popping of the spine. That is physical evidence, of course, surveillance evidence, statements. This is just very, very heartbreaking. Swilley, so bad, was found guilty and given life in prison for this crime. Hello, everybody. Good morning. Good afternoon. Miss June, Deborah, Melissa, Angela, Tracy K. Thanks for joining us, Melissa. And we've got some people watching out there that are also on Facebook. Um, so this crime was horrific, just absolutely horrific, and my heart goes out to the family. So I want to welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us today. We have, like I said, a very special guest, the nephew of Tim Smith, and his name is Blake Riles. He is going to be here with us talking on behalf and for the family. We'll be talking to him about Tim as a person. I wanted to know who Tim was. Already, we know he's a victim. I want to know him as a person and how the trial has impacted his family, what his experiences has been in the courtroom, and from their perspective. So, everybody, welcome. I'm bringing to stage Mr. Blake. Hello, love. How are you?
Hi there, doing pretty well tonight.
Yeah, get some rest.
Yes, ma'am. Was finally able to get a good amount of rest today. It just, you know, feels a lot better having all this weight lifted off.
I bet. I bet. Um, People don't understand how difficult and how draining a trial can be for everybody involved, including the family of the victims. So, introduce yourself real quick. Give us how you're connected to Mr. Tim.
I'm Blake. Uh, Uncle Tim was my mother's brother. We all grew up real close. And then Buddy got his job. I'm gonna probably refer to Tim a lot as Buddy. Uh, he has always been Buddy to me and my mom. Uh, Around like 8 or 9, 10ish, he moved away and went to Texas for college, I believe. It was either Texas or Mississippi. Came back after he finished, got a job in Gainesville, uh, stuff like that. He's always been like a very caring, loving person. he, you could you could meet Tim in a room of 500 people, and Tim would make you feel like you were the only person in that room that he had ever spoke to.
Oh, wow. Do you feel well, let's start off a little bit more. I'll get to that. But do you your relationship you had told me in our pre-interview that at one time he had considered adopting you?
Yes, ma'am. My mom and him had talked about it a little. I was always on the heavier side, which I still am. And if you knew Tim back during that time, he and me looked a lot alike. And he knowed how people picked on overweight people and stuff like that and wanted to offer to adopt me where I could get the gastric bypass surgery or the lap band surgery done, where I could lose about the same amount of weight he did.
So is
And they
this
discussed it with that's him in the red there, red shirt and black pants.
I see that, yeah, you all look a lot alike. You really
Yes,
do.
ma'am.
So so this was pre-surgery and I guess with a group of friends, and this had to have been what, the 90s?
Yes, ma'am. I believe late '90s.
Yeah, looks like it by the clothes.
Yeah,
Yeah, and the cameras. I can see. Angela says, "Take your time, Blake. We know this is hard. Yet, Blake, take your time. We are all good." I just will pop up some pictures that you've shared with me as we go through the conversation, but please continue.
and I mean, like I said, Buddy was just he was always so caring that he would give you the shirt off his back, even if you were a complete stranger. Uh, Always every year for Christmas and birthdays and everything, he would make you feel special. Was very giving and loving in that way too. Uh, Not to say like that I was like the only person he could spoil up until Jordan, but I kind of was. You know, he didn't have any kids of his own. He was previously married twice, both female. I don't really remember them because it was before I was born and around the time that I was like 2 and 3. So they weren't like they know me, but I don't really know a lot about them.
So you touched on the fact that he was married to two women. So was he bi or was he actually gay? I mean, how did he identify? Because there's a
He
lot of
identified.
we're going to be very careful with this because I'm respectful with this, but it is a part of the trial.
Yes, ma'am. He completely came out as gay, I believe, to my grandma and grandpa in the early 2000s, or might have been sooner than that. I know that I knew it in the early 2000s,
Mm-hmm.
and because he was starting to bring other male companions around, and you know, it's no big deal to me. Everybody in my family was very accepting of him and everyone he brought around.
So he had a good support system, and it was pretty well accepted. Well, I'm
Yes,
glad to hear that. That's good to hear because um, we're going to get into it a little bit. We might as well do it now just to get it out of the way. The way he was described in court, I'm referring to this house as the adult playhouse because we have to be careful with our language, and the adult toys and all of that stuff really was the center around this particular case. Did they portray him the way he really was, or was it more probably, from what I'm understanding, the way that your uncle was portrayed was really Herbert or Herbie. I'm going to call him Herbie. So
yes, ma'am.
we'll let you touch on that, and so we can just get it out of the way.
Yes, ma'am. Uh, we'll call him Herbie because uh, my words for him are clearly something else we can't say on YouTube.
Yeah, that's okay.
Uh,
Herbass. You can call him Herbass.
but Herbert was always the more, just kind of sleazeball type in it and everything. Tim, from what I knew, was a bear. The soft, loving, gentle person in community. He wasn't really into the type of
Adult.
lifestyle that was portrayed.
Right. The aggressive, dominating adult play.
Yes.
So he was
didn't
more
like to be.
submissive,
Yeah.
not yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Tim was very submissive in the situation, like everything.
And that's not how he was portrayed in this trial.
No, ma'am. They, I don't feel like he was misrepresented, but at the same time, nobody knew him. So it kind of just seems like, all these two perverts had a lovers quarrel, and one murdered the other, and
And
that's not what it was.
okay. So what was it? What do you think was the driving force behind the red rum?
He, um, trying to put this into words.
Fear, money.
Money and not having his breadwinner anymore, his stability.
He lost his. He was his. So it's my understand that he was losing his sugar daddy. Because sugar daddy was done taking care of him and paying for everything, and was got offered another position in a new job. And by the way, with Blake's permission, we did the math on this gentleman. He was earning just $4,000 less of 400,000 a year. $396,000 a year is approximate what he was earning. So he definitely was the breadwinner in this family. So when this relationship turned sour and everything started going bad, Herbert was like, boo, this ain't happening. Did I kind of have the gist of it right?
Yes, ma'am. In my personal opinion, and everyone in my family's, I believe you said that 100% perfectly.
Mm, mm-mm, mm-mm. So outside of this case, your number one favorite memory of Tim?
I was about 7 or 8. It might have been It was shortly after Toy Story came out. So what was that? 96, 97.
Mm.
I want to say. I was staying over at his house. I think he might have actually took me over there to see the movie. And I had a Buzz Lightyear figure. And I threw it from the top of his stairs of the 3-story house that he had all the way to the bottom floor and would just keep repeating doing that. And he said that that was the funnest time that I had over at his place when he was telling my mom about it that night that she came to get me short because she came, I think, around midnight to come get me.
Oh, what a sweet.
And yeah, it's
So
just that's one of the memories that's always stuck with me is because of that one little Buzz Lightyear. And he would always keep a Buzz in his house
do you have it?
somewhere. No, ma'am, I don't anymore. It
You wore
unfortunately got lost with in my grandma's when she passed away. It got lost in that situation there.
I'm sorry to hear that. So people watching right now, what would you want them to know that about him that did not come across in the courtroom that you feel would be important to share?
If you ever met him, that he'd light up your world. It would be fun. Like he was one of the nicest people you could meet. I'm not saying he was a saint by any means. I mean, personally, I'm not as spiritual as some people that might be watching this or anything, and neither was Tim. But he believed in doing what was right and what was good, and I think that's what more people should be in this world. And I think we'd be better off if people were like that and those standards instead of all the hate and unfairness we have.
So this has been a very difficult time, and I've told Blake that tears are safe here on my channel. I mean, we support you 100%. That's why we're here. We want you to be able to share from your heart and so people can get to know him for who he was and still is in your heart. So this is, like I said, been a very difficult time for you and your family. How have you all been coping? How have you been supporting one another through this process?
Mom and a lot of the Smith family have a group text that they're all involved in. I opted out of it early on because it was just too much for me because I grieve different than they do. And I know they keep in a lot of contact with it and everything. I'm more on the lines of it. I kept it to myself, didn't really talk about it much to people until something would be brought up to me about it. I know that they have a big support group. His friends that he had in Ocala, basically all of them have given us their numbers and been like, if you want to keep in contact with us, you're just as much family as he was to us.
Okay, go ahead and um, Jamie wants to know if Blake thinks Jordan was involved. Thank you, Jamie.
Jamie, my personal opinion on that uh, is in some way, yes, I do think she was involved. Whether when she heard the noise, she walked out and witnessed it because it happened to be close to her room, from my understanding. If that's where the carpet was that's missing, and either she walked out and heard it, seen it, or Herbert made her clean it up. Is what I'm thinking. I don't think she's 100% innocent in the situation. She might be, but I feel there's more to it than we'll know.
Well, and in our private conversation, I think you brought up that Herbert is actually suing her for the money that she didn't give him. You want to share about that?
Yes, ma'am. I believe that he's suing her for anywhere from 50 to, I think it was $123,000 for the 3 parcels of land that she openly admitted to committing tax fraud on.
I lost sound.
Stan.
Are you there?
Sorry.
Oh, that's
Yes, ma'am.
it's my end. They cut it out. My ears cut out. I apologize. So,
Okay.
what what do you think she spent all that money on? I mean, what happened to all the money on that land? All right, on our end of the boat. So our perspective is we were all believing her until the money came up, and then it was like she's squirrely as a squirrel in a church with a bunch of rocking. I mean, it was like something was up.
I believe she's like him and very irresponsible with money and probably just spent it all on paying her car off, buying new clothes,
Typical young,
whatever, and stuff like that. Yeah.
young
Typical young, you're 20 with a crap ton of money. What are you going to do?
blow it.
Yeah. And that's probably what happened.
So on the personal level, for you, what has been the hardest thing?
Just not being able to talk to anybody anymore. I mean, just not having the ability to reach out and be like, "Hey, man, how you doing? Been a while. I miss you." It just and it really bothers me that Herbert kept Tim's remains from us. We honestly don't know where he is. We're working on trying to find that out, where we can at least have something to say. There he is, instead of I don't know.
So at this time, so most people don't know this, at this time, the remains are pretty much, well, would be considered lost. They do not, none of the family knows where he is. Herbert has not shared that. For all they know, Herbert's daughter could have him. Um, after having a
Or
conversation with, yeah, with,
for all we know, he could be in the landfill.
right,
I wouldn't put it past her.
right. So, uh, Blake and I had a conversation, and I hope I gave you some pointers on where to start looking and how to handle this problem a little bit. But they are going to look into maybe filing for a court to order the remains to be returned to the family if they're still returnable. So we'll be praying for you on that end, and we'll be supporting in that. So, um, anything else you want to share about the family aspect before we switch over to the court? I forgot my notes and your notes, and
I mean, looking at it, mine and everything. Oh yeah. Um. Yeah. Tim was. I'm glad I actually looked a little more on that too. Kind of around the time Herbert started keeping him away from us more was around the time that they started getting sober. When
so were they
yeah,
alcohol or self medicating or?
alcoholics. Yes, ma'am. They were both in AA for alcoholism. I mean,
Well,
Tim was a social drinker, but when Herb was around, they would get more drunk than they needed to be.
yeah. Um, so during that time frame, were they? Some people are happy drunks, some people are violent drunks, some people are very flirtatious drunks. What kind of drunks were they?
Tim was always the flirtatious drunk, the happy, flirtatious, goofy. When Herbert was always just Herbert. You seen how he was, hardly no emotion, robot, until something pissed him off and he'd fly off the handles.
I found that interesting in court. I understand a lot of times people do, they are very stoic in court. They're taught you can't show emotions and whatnot. So that was one of the questions I was going to ask is what was Herbert's emotional status quo? So yes, they were both alcoholic, but um, was there violence between the two of them, or would you think that this was just a?
I think this was a one and I want to say it was a one and done thing. I'm not entirely sure. I never seen any marks or anything on Tim during the time that we were around. He never said anything to us about Herbert being really abusive, other than like the verbal abuse. But that's going to be in almost every relationship when there's quarrels.
Right. What two things I wanted to say is I do want to talk briefly. Share with me, if you don't mind, how your family found out that Tim had passed, because I find this very interesting.
So Herbert didn't has our phone number or had our phone numbers and everything, and the only way my mom found out about it is through our cousin. I want to say it was cousin Gina called at like 8 or 9 o'clock at night the day everybody found out and said, "Sandy, I'm sorry for your loss." And she's like, "What loss are you talking about?" And that's how she found out that Uncle Tim was gone. And during that time frame, it took her to process and everything. I was currently working at a gas station, working nights and all, and I got the call from her on lunch that night and was able to leave and go home and process everything because it was a while, it just it hit like what the heck happened. We didn't know. You don't expect to lose your grandma a couple months prior and then lose your only remaining family member from that side of the family within 8 months.
I am so sorry. I really am, and I don't say that flippantly. I don't. So one thing that people are asking: how in the hell did Tim get 2,000 milligrams Benadryl in his system? And you said there may have been some previous attempts. So I wanted you to kind of go through that whole.
So from when the coroner was talking about it and everything, that they said that Tim was in the hospital the previous 2 weeks. My thought on it was Herbert was trying to figure out the right concoction to completely drug him and have him completely out to where he was, basically a comatose brick.
So how do you think he got that in his system?
Personally,
I have an idea, but I want to see if you go there.
I wouldn't put it past him either putting it in a syringe and acting like it was lubricant.
A rectal injection.
Yes, ma'am.
It could have been mixed with the.
Or
It really could have been mixed with that because lubricant was very much in abundance.
yes, ma'am. Clearly from everything that was said and how the prosecution was so stuck on that gun oil lube.
Ah! I'm sorry. I just like the. I'm DV and Blake's partner. I am a DV advocate and Blake's partner. So Melissa's your partner?
Yes, ma'am.
Welcome, Melissa. Thank you so much for being here. We have a lot of DV survivors and advocates here on this channel, and I want you to know this is a safe place for everybody. So thank you so much for sharing and letting us know. And we're here to support all of y'all. sure this affects you as well. So, yeah, that was one of the comments. People were like, "Oh my gosh, we don't understand. He wouldn't he have tasted it in his coffee and da 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 da." And I'm like, someone who understands a lot more medical than I should. Um, the rectum is very quick absorbing in medications. A lot of time for nausea. There are other medications that we administer that way, and it's very fast. And if it's mixed in with the lubricant, he would never know. So I feel very bad. I really do. So I want to shift kind of towards the trial itself. What was that like for you to watch the case unfold? And I know you got in a little bit of trouble for making faces and throwing your hands like, "What the?" Um,
Yeah,
I did see the video, but it's so microscopic, it's hard for us to see it. But in court, when the judge was yelling at people for reacting, it was you, boo.
yeah, that was me. I mean, yeah, the man was repeating himself, and it just got to be the point to where it was very irritating that day because it repeat, 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 and I'm like, dude, just sit down and let it pass. Go to the next one. You've been doing it for the past three. What the hell, just exactly. I went, what the hell, just like that, and I was leaning up on the thing or the bench in front of me, and I believe when I done like that, that's when the judge seen it. And shortly afterwards, he spoke and said, "I'm going to ask everyone in the audience to remain from making gestures or mouth or mouthing things that they should." And I'm like,
Well, Jamie is right. We all have the luxury to scream and talk and yell and do everything from home, and you couldn't. So,
well,
is this your first time being in a courtroom in this kind of situation? Not the situation, but being in a trial?
yes, ma'am. That was the first trial I've ever sat in on or witnessed or anything like that. I mean, I had a divorce trial and stuff like that, but it was very informal. Uh, you know, me, the judge, our attorneys, and my ex-wife. Um,
So, how did your attorneys, or did your attorneys, they should have someone prepare you for what was going to happen?
basically, they told us, or they had already talked, said, "Hey, do you want this, 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 and this?" And I said, "Yeah, but I would like this and this." About 5 minutes later, he goes, or well, he's gone for 5 minutes. He comes back and he says, "Okay, well, they'll take this and this if you do this." And I said, "Okay, I'm completely fine with that then." And we worked everything out. Went in there in front of the judge, presented what we wanted. Her side presented what they wanted. The judge agreed, and everything was easy and done.
So very different. I'm going to be popping
Then,
up
yeah,
pictures while we speak. I told you I was going to do that. This here is Youngins
yes,
and
ma'am. That's Tim.
Tim with his
That
mom and Deb.
Marcus and Romy and his sister Sandy. I want
Here
to
is
say that's in Jacksonville. That is at the Rouse, which is my dad's side. He's the one in the camo shirt in front of my mom. I'm in the white shirt in the back next to Tim. That was at the Rouse family camp. We Tim and Herbert came out there for I believe Thanksgiving or Christmas one year. And that was me and Tim at Parliament House. When I
that's a
lived in Orlando, he invited me down there one time. I was old enough to drink, but I didn't drink anything. And that was when he was at Gay Days at Disney. He actually organized a group of 500 people in like maybe 10 minutes and led a parade walking down Main Street, Disney.
I'm not trying to be tacky, and I hope he would get a kick out of what I'm about ready to say. He looks like a better version of Richard Simmons right there.
He got that a lot, surprisingly.
I just saw Richard Simmons sweating with the
Like, I'm not going to lie, when he got skinny, and like, a lot of people noticed it too. They were like, you kind of look like a little, a couple people have made that joke before.
Well, this is the other side of him.
Yes, ma'am, Miss Augusta Wind. She was a trip.
Tell us about Augusta. Augusta
was a trip. He convinced me one time when I was maybe about 16, 17 years old that I had left a wallet that he had took and like moved and had it in his pocket because he was with my grandma. And that he had the he had called and said he was from Dollar General and that his name was Augusta Wind. He sounded like, a typical Southern black or Southern African American woman. Oh sugar, how you doing? My name's Augusta and I'm here at the Dollar General here in Cross City. Went on about his little spiel about it and everything, and I was getting into my truck ready to drive down there until he come out and he said, Blake, you realize it is me, Uncle Tim, right? And I'm like, how I would have believed it and drove all the way down there.
He has apparently had a good sense of humor. Obviously, you did.
Oh yeah, Buddy was a big joker.
So, you feel that Tim got a good representation through the proceedings, and I want to go back to a little bit to those proceedings. Being that you've never been in that position before, first of all, you had a victim's advocate that sat with your family and helped y'all walk through the process. People don't realize they get paid very little, but they do an amazingly important job. You want to share a little bit about y'all's walk through this process?
Honestly, she was one of the biggest helps to my mother I know in every situation. If I could give that woman the utmost praise and give her like an award, I could, because if any questions we had, she would talk to the state about it and immediately within like 5 or 6 minutes like that get back to us, even if we were up here and she would call. I mean, we live about 2-ish hours away from Ocala.
So, as far as the process, what was the one thing that really shocked you that you never thought was going to happen? Something that you went, what?
When he tried to get the mistrial for the golden rule violation.
They always try to get a mistrial. That is every single trial they're going to try and get a golden.
I never knew anything about. I never heard of that. And I'm like, the hell is that? And when the judge explained it to us, I was like, I'm learning something new. I've played law games before, and that's never even been brought up. That was just a little weird, and that's always going to stand out to me now, because now I know there's a whole rule that 90% of the population doesn't even know about.
Well, let me read what that is, because I did pull it up. In Florida, the golden rule violation occurs when an attorney asks the jury to put themselves in place of a party to determine damages or decide the case based on personal interest rather than the evidence, which is considered an improper appeal to emotions and compromise objectivity. If a golden rule argument is made, the opposing counsel must immediately object and move for a mistrial to preserve the issue for the appeal. It is an argument that asks the jurors to consider what they would want if they were in the plaintiff's position. either in terms of monetary compensation or how they react to the situation. Examples include asking jury how much would they want to receive if they were the plaintiff.
And
I've heard it before.
I went back and watched what he was talking about, and I rewatched this whole situation and everything. The defense did his job. I will admit that the man did his job in that, because they were warned about it the first time. That's when the judge called him up there and they all three spoke. That was the first, hey, I'm letting you know people might misinterpret this as you trying to commit the golden rule violation. But it was the way she was saying you. Just, she was using you as a general term, but the defense
Was taking it as a specific.
Yes, ma'am. Which I can see why he done it. It's his job. I hold no ill will against him on that. And honestly, you know, it was smart.
Yeah, I do remember that actual point when that happened, and I was like, "Whoa!"
Yeah, I was like, oh, yeah. It honestly, it made me say, oh shit, he might have a chance of getting off here.
SHIT is fine. The F word is kind of yeah, but yeah, that I remember that, and I was like, oh boy, we getting a little hairy over here. Were there moments in the courtroom that really stood out to you that one you'll never forget, either in a good supportive way or in a bad non-supportive way?
In the bad way, honestly, we didn't know or see Tim's body because it was immediately cremated after he got it back from the coroner, or it may have been cremated at the coroner's. I honestly don't know the process of there, because we were kept out of the loop from Herbert and everything. But seeing what happened to the body on the body cam footage, and from what my mom told me about his autopsy photos, the graphicness of it makes me know that Herbert's a monster, and
Well,
that he, or it just,
I don't think people realize it wasn't just the ligature and I understand what the ME was talking about when they say that the ligature marks, if you get hung and you remove it quickly, the damage to the tissue is not as severe. Whereas if you leave it there over a period of time, it's going to become more pronounced and it will become more evident. His neck was. Go ahead.
Yeah, it looked like that, but black and purple.
Right.
All the way completely around it. It was about that big in length.
She said 11.
All the way around. Yeah, just all the way around it. Like, you could tell it was done by either like that or a strap or something.
She said it was.
I thought it might have been done by. Sorry, I'll let you finish.
No, I think we're getting a little bit of a delay. From what I understand, she said it was at least a half an inch, and it was uniform, like a belt, a cord, something of that fashion.
I honestly think it was that necklace that was on top of the, or not necklace, but that leash or whatever it was that they showed. I think it was that, because if you go back and look at it, it's the same perfect right amount as how it would be.
Yeah, and that would make
for it to have been supposedly moved. Yes, ma'am, and it supposedly was moved according to Herbert.
Well, and if they were in the throes of passion and that's how he did it under that pretense, and that collar with that leash on it, with that, and the way his head was, the vertebrae was ruptured from the front, which means the head went back pretty violently. But the other thing was, and I'm going to say this very delicately, his genitals and scrotum and all that area were badly bruised, you said? I mean, you described them. We didn't see it.
So it looked like he was either hit with a baseball bat or kicked with steel-toed boots. Like they, the amount of bruising that was down there was ridiculous. It was multiple times. It wasn't just one, and done. It was.
So it was violent. And what I hate is that y'all had to see that. How
We ne- part. I'm gonna say it like this. I needed to, where I could see what that monster did to my uncle, because I still have my good memories of Buddy. I know, I still have that non-tarnished picture of him in my mind, but I needed to know what happened to him and what he looked like, because if I didn't, that would eat at me for the rest of my life because I wouldn't know. And part of me regrets finding out, but I'm glad I did, because now that I know how severe and everything it was, it makes the conviction stick a whole lot more.
So, from your perspective, do you think, or is there anything in this case that the public might misperceive that you might want to set straight?
That if anybody don't think Tim was the
Aggressor?
aggressor. Tim was not that type of person. Tim was, the way the trial kind of made it seem like this was all Tim's idea, the daddy den and all that. It's not. Tim's soft. He's not that type of person. He wouldn't, he. I'm not trying to be like, oh, I know him, because I know everything about his sexual life. And I don't. I'm not saying that I do. I know how Tim is, and I know the lifestyle, because I'm an ally and everything, and he he couldn't have done that.
Well, and
Tim, it wasn't his stuff.
I
Is what
will
I was trying to say.
I will play devil's advocate here, and I told you I may do that every once in a while, but I will say that there are some women and men in life that are the most sweetest, softest, cabbage patch doll type women, but in the bedroom they become a little devil. So,
And
but in this situation, I tend to believe what you're saying, and especially since he was the victim in this case. From the jump, we thought it was someone who knew Tim because it was described to us as a violent strangulation, and usually those are personal, very, very
yeah,
personal. Um, when you were looking at the jury, do you feel that they really got the truth? I mean, we know what the verdict is, but as this as the trial went on, say versus day 1 versus the last day, day 5, did you see a shift in the jury? What was the jury's demeanor? How were they behaving? Describe to us the jury and their journey through this case, if you can, from your
yes,
perspective.
ma'am. Oh, other than the one juror that fell asleep and
It happened.
everything, yes, ma'am. I mean, with the defense sounding like a bad Benoit Blanc impression, you're gonna have that happen. Uh, it, it just, from my point of view, I believe they were very it was very well represented. There was a broad range of people. It wasn't just all female, one race or anything like that. It was a broad spectrum. I believe he had adequate representation with the juror. Trying to figure out that word, or how to say that right. The representation of the jurors. There we go.
So I really felt bad for the one that went to sleep.
I mean, I do too, because I know the bailiff and I want to say the judge closed his eyes a couple times there.
Was it this kind, or was it like a total out? He's gone. I mean, how asleep was the dude?
From my knowledge, she said that he was like this for a good 15 minutes.
Well, I'll be honest, sometimes now I'm being deaf, it's hard because I have to lip read a lot. But I've been known to just want to go here and listen. Just shut off all the distractions and listen.
Well, most of the time, like I said, when I was leaning up on the thing, half the time I was sitting just like this where I could hear. Just ear tilted up where shut the visual out, just listen.
Oh, he was out on more than one occasion. Well, some people get still and they just go to sleep. I have a
I
friend.
thought it was just like once. I didn't know
I,
it was more than that.
What did you think of the judge? And some people, I want to clarify, the judge had a motorcycle accident. That's why his face looks the way it does. A lot of kudos and support, and that a guy for this judge because he had a traumatic brain injury at TBI, and he came back on the bench and doing fabulous. So I kudos to you, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Honestly, I think he done a very good job in the whole situation of it. I mean, I know he even told them the pretrial arraignment when that first happened. He said, "All right, y'all need to get this done within that week because I'm retiring at the end of the year. It's already been passed off on 3 different judges, and I'm also leaving Saturday to go out of the country." And he asked them that day. They said, "Do you think you can do it within 5 days? If you open on Monday, will you have a verdict by Friday?" And they both agreed, and we did.
Where
I'm
was he?
very He said out of the country. I think to I want to say the Philippines or something like that.
Good for you.
He said, but I don't honestly remember. Like it's been about a month ago.
Wow. Wow. So, speaking of justice, do you think with this sentence justice truly has been served? Or what would it
In my
feel that
personal opinion, yes.
yeah,
The only thing that I think would have been a little bit more damning evidence is if they could have gotten the ring camera footage or the coffee table and rugs. I believe the state probably would have went for the death
DP?
penalty with that. Yeah, PP for that. Sorry.
Don't worry about it. We're good. Um, I want to talk about, and we talked about it, and I'm going to show this real quick. I want to show this picture. This is of their wedding day,
Yes, ma'am.
the day they were married, and this is that young girl. Do you,
Yes, ma'am. That's Jordan.
how do you think this is affecting her? I mean, I can sit there and tell you what I think, but you know her. You knew her before. You knew her during this whole mess. You found her after. What is your take on this young woman? And do
I
you think
feel
having no fathers have affected her?
No, ma'am. I honestly think their relationship was just like a regular relationship, if you ask me. Because I mean, it was. There was no difference in it. Tim may have been male, but he was just as loving as a female would have been in that situation. I mean, she still has she still could go and stay with her mother. She just chose to stay with Herbert and Tim all the time. I
And
mean, I feel deeply sorry for her because she lost a dad. Well, no, I take that back. She lost 2 dads,
yeah. And
and
what
it
is her
breaks my heart for her.
what's her relationship with her father right now?
I do believe they're estranged.
Yeah, kind of
I
seemed
think that happened shortly after the whole situation. I believe I want to say the lawyer that he got her advised her to ties with him. Just
Well, I'm glad she got a lawyer because one of the things in my situation when I went through the thing with my ex-husband is I didn't know to get a lawyer to advise and represent me. I went based on what my husband and my husband's lawyers said. And that is something that I always preach to people now. If you find that you have a spouse in a major legal situation, criminal especially, get your own attorney, honey, because you will be thrown under the bus at any cost if it can happen. So let
I
in.
mean,
Uh-huh.
you've seen that clear. You could watch the trial and see that clear as day.
Yeah. So I want to let you share a little bit about your past and what you've done in your past as a career and why this and how it ties into this case. And we are my viewers are always, and a lot of them do talk a lot about what is Herbert going to expect the moment he hits the jails, and that little door goes. Oh, by the way, oh, I forgot when he hears this sound. I forgive me because
You're good.
door slams behind him and he is not getting out.
I so when I was uh going through my divorce with my ex-wife and everything, I got a call from the state to ask if I wanted to work for Jasper CI. I took the job and ended up training at
I means
Columbia. Yes.
CI means what?
Oh, correctional institution.
Not everybody
And
knows.
yes, sorry, my bad.
Okay.
I was a or trainee correctional officer. I trained at Columbia County and ended up going almost all the way to the FDLE exam. Failed out the test before it. I needed an 80 to pass, and I got a 78. They spent 4.5 hours trying everything they could, to see what would happen, but there was no way they could do anything without me being completely retested, and they couldn't do that. But that affected me a lot, losing that job, and around the same time, my grandfather passed away. So I started using prescription drugs to numb the pain. I regret doing it. Uh, it caused me to act out of character, towards people, family, friends. Can say that I'm California sober now. If
You want to
most people
explain
don't know
what
that.
that means? I know what it means. You want to explain it?
I only partake in medical marijuana because I have a Florida medical marijuana card.
There you go.
I don't drink. I don't do anything other than, be a normal, productive member of society when I can. Uh, I do have a criminal history, unfortunately. Part of that's Herbert's fault
Hold on,
in
hold
a
on,
way.
hold on. Do we not have sound anymore, guys? I need clarification. You have sound. Okay, go ahead. Somebody lost your sound for a second. I just want to make
Oh,
sure. Just a little glitch. Oh wait, we got you. You're good. Thank you.
all right. But yeah, unfortunately, me having somewhat of a criminal history is partially Herbert's fault. Uh, I had pawned a couple of my uncle's tools and stuff and went and got them back the Monday after. It was on a Friday evening. And he found out about it. He talked to my mom, my grandma, and a couple other people in the Dixie County Sheriff's Office, and they tried to do a scared straight thing by offering adjudication withheld if I went to rehab and completed it and everything. I did the good majority of that, but the job that I had at rehab, they kicked me out because I was gone for too many hours. I did my time on probation, Ended up moving back up to Dixie County, and when I did, I had a uh, incident come up where I was out past my curfew, and a friend of mine was pulled over in my car with prescription drugs, and it violated my probation. I ended up doing 2 years and or a little over 2 years in the Department of Corrections, so I do know what he can expect as soon as he goes in there from somebody that's just been in there short term, and it's not a cakewalk. I mean, everybody thinks that the stereotypes and all that are going to be like he's going to have fun in there. He's not.
Well, and a lot of people think that in some states and prison systems, they will put like people together, meaning people of his lifestyle will be kind of in a somewhat of a group. If you do CP, you're in a group. If you're of this culture or race, you're in that group. But you said that's not how it actually works in the prison system of Florida.
No, ma'am. They have what is called a predator prey index. Depending on the crime, you can be matched with somebody that has life and only be in there for less than, or 9 months. Well, I think it's or 11 months, or no, 12 months, and or no, 11 months, 30 days. That's the minimum amount we can have in Florida Department of Corrections. But it basically layman's
So
terms,
yeah.
if you're matched up with somebody, you can be matched up. If the only thing difference in it can be is I can say I'm 275 pounds. I can be matched up with a 150-pound normal person, and that's okay. They could have life, or
Matched
in
up means
Herbert's situation, he might be
you're
get.
talking.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, that's
What I
okay.
mean by matched up is um, if he gets put in like regular general population, he'll be probably he'll want to honestly. I think he'll want to check in for his safety.
Okay, check in.
Check in means basically
Self
you
harm.
feel that you are at risk from the other inmates or officers or anything else on the compound, and that you want to be in an isolated room with either yourself or another like-minded person that they match you with.
So basically, yeah, you're at risk of being harmed by somebody else or self harm. Some people
Yes, ma'am.
will claim self harm threats, get into that situation to stay protected. His chances of staying protected are not very high in this situation.
No, ma'am. Especially with the way everybody is in prison, there's I know this is going to sound weird to say it, but there's prettier people than him. And he's going to find that out, and he's probably not going to be able to offer any use to anybody that way. That I think everybody is thinking.
He's going to become
Saying it without saying
he,
it.
in order to survive, he's going to become somebody's toy.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. And what my curiosity is how is he going to get, I mean, does he have money to support himself? Does he have someone to send him money for canteen and personal items, all of that kind of stuff? I mean, that
Yeah, that's
going
I
to happen
don't know. That's yeah.
when you walk in, you have nothing, and
You were
it can take
basically
30
when you
days.
walk in, you're ma'am.
Doesn't it take a lot of places at least minimum of 30 days for your commissary to kick in?
It can take longer than that,
Yeah, I said at least.
especially if they move you.
Oh
For
yeah.
me, when I went in, my card was luckily activated immediately because I had money on my account already. But uh, there was one guy that was there at the reception center, because you go to a reception center first, and then they kind of process you in and all that, shave your head completely, delouse you, that fun situation. Uh, and then you're kind of like sent, just told to go to a bed, and just that's where you're going to be sleeping for the next couple days. You'll be interrupted at all days and hours to getting asked 50 billion questions, and have to go to pointless interviews that you don't even really know anything from, because they just want to find out one question.
Are you gang related?
No.
That's one of the questions they ask. They ask a lot of questions, actually. No?
No, I am as
No.
dorky as I can be. I'm just some little white nerd, or some little dorky white boy.
Here's some pictures of them. That's a sweet picture. It really
Yes,
is.
ma'am.
That is a sweet picture. And another one. Looked like she grew up in a very safe, healthy environment.
Yes, ma'am. I believe she did, because Tim was the type of person, if you needed anything, or wanted anything, he would get it for you. So if she ever had anything she wanted or needed, I would imagine it was, snap of the fingers, or, hey, Dad, can you get me this?
Well, speaking about hey daddy, here's a sugar daddy purchase. You want to see sugar daddy purchase? Look at that. No, not a Porsche. What is that? A DRP?
Spider, I believe.
Spider. Look at that. I mean, that's money. And that was not Tim's toy. That was Herbert's toy. Am I correct?
Yes,
That's
ma'am.
what it,
Yes,
so
ma'am.
that is definitely. I'm looking on their Facebook page. Oh, I find this. Oh, hold on.
I've already been up wandering around on it.
They built.
And,
I thought this was cute.
It looks really nice now.
Oh, yeah, it's a little cat thing.
Oh, let's go back. That's a upside down for them to lay in. One to look at. Then we go back to the regular cat tower.
Kitty.
And then we have another one.
So, I mean, it looks like he had a very good life. And it looks like he was up in all intents and purposes. So what was the job, or what was it that I don't think I heard the kind of job your uncle was in the assisted living.
Yes, ma'am. He was always very high up, like either the second in command, or under second in command, or maybe even first in command over most nursing homes that he worked at. So I mean, he always was making big money.
Yeah, but where was he going? What was offered to him? Do y'all know? Plus this rift to explode.
He was going to Deltona, which is the other side of Orlando, and basically matched his salary with a little bit more, as an incentive to kind of come down there.
And he was using that to separate at that point. Didn't he take a lot of vitamins? He was into the Thrive patch and vitamin side business. Is that what I would call it? MLN?
Yes, ma'am. He also, when he got his gastric bypass surgery, they, I think, might have messed something up in that, and he was always on multivitamins and stuff like that.
Not that they messed it up. It's that when they do that surgery, you lose a part of your stomach that does to absorbing of some of those nutritional values, and you're told from day one that you should be on multivitamins, supposedly chewables, not the hard eggshell type kind, for the rest of your life. because your absorption may not be as good as it was before. And a lot of us don't do that. And as I said,
Well,
us.
I can honestly say Uncle Tim was very. He was always like I remember, being around him and watching him a handful of pills every day, like three
Yeah,
times a day or something.
in med school
It would be
when
like fish oil, stuff like that.
in med school when we are when not we when people do the get to the point where they have a cadaver for a year, they always sit there and say, okay, who has $1 million stomach? Because they don't all absorb all right away, and a lot of people, yeah. So been the $1 million stomach.
Yes.
He took a lot of vitamins, and so is there anything that we missed that you might want to share?
Let me go back over everything that I've got. I mean, other than there's there were times where like Tim would fly out to go meet and stay with him when he before he met Herbert. That he flew my mom and me out to Nebraska to stay with him for a week or two. Just to kind of get a feel of the land and everything. And that was around some of the time that he was talking about adopting me. But we flew up there. I think he took us to one of the nature preserves that were up there, and we drove around on it and like got to see buffalo and stuff like that. That was kind of cool.
Oh, was that picture of y'all on the bull?
No, ma'am, that was us at Billy Bob's there in Texas at the
Billy
stockyards in Dallas.
Bob's at Billy
Yep.
Bob's, Billy Bob Thornton.
We have a couple cousins that still live over there in Texas that Aunt Maud, I believe was her name. But she would always send fudge every year. And when she passed away, Tim got the recipe. And I don't want to go find all that now.
I love the picture. You got Grandpa down here, you, Tim, and then look at Grandma holding on to the tail ass of that bull. Look at her hand sitting there. She is holding on to that tail for dear life. Poor Grandma. But
Yeah.
you told me she enjoyed it, and it was a fun thing for y'all to do, and that
Anytime she had me and Tim together, it was the light of her world because we were her buddies. She honestly would get both of us mixed up so many times because, as you can see, I have a red beard and I was big, so I was so used to getting called Tim by her, it didn't even affect me.
Aw. Aw. Here we go. The absorption of nutrients is nil. Vitamins and supplements are key. Even when you do them correctly, you still struggle not to be deficient in vitamins. That is true. That is so true. Speaking from people who have gone through one of each of those procedures, not me. I've had a different one. And notice my sound is cutting in and out for some reason. I've got to get a new cord for this. But it is very rare that we have an opportunity to speak to a family member of a victim after a trial. And I know this has been very hard for you and your family. And my heart goes out to both of y'all, all of you, not both of you, your mom, especially. And I did invite her on, but she just didn't think she'd sound like she wanted to be heard. So I don't know if she's listening. I don't know if she's watching. But I will say this, beloved, we are forever sorry for what had happened to your brother and your family member. And your family's been in our hearts and prayers since we learned of this case and started following this case. And if you go back and look, there's sometimes we did make little jokes and comments to lighten the levity of some of this, but it was never at the extent of Tim, but it was... we felt really sorry for him. No, but we felt very sorry for him because He didn't deserve this at all.
No, no
And
one deserves what happened to him.
I just thought we all were shocked when we saw the swing and they were showing all this stuff online and they were showing the toys. And I was like,
Yes, honestly, I didn't expect the state to show or the camera to show all that. I was like, geez, at least they had the sword covered up completely. Because I ended up like,
sword?
okay, so there is an adult toy sword that was mentioned.
Right.
Yeah.
I thought it was the flogger. I thought that's what was covered. Okay,
No,
so
man, what was covered with the little gold thing that was covered, that
yeah,
was the
yeah.
adult sword.
What people choose to do. I'm cutting. Am I cutting out, or is it my ears that's cutting in and out? Because does my sound good?
Sounded fine to me. Yes.
Okay, so it's all of my ears are cutting in and out. There we go. These ears are 10 years old, so it's time to replace them. But what everybody does in the privacy of their bedroom is consensual, is fair game. It's consensual. They choose to do it. Everyone's safe. It's my ears that's cutting. But it should never be in deception and lead to red room, and that is
No.
deplorable. And
Yes,
and then to turn it around and make the victim the perpetrator, or make the victim to be somebody he is not, just angers me to no end. And so we just want your family to know that we are very, very supportive of you guys, and I appreciate your time. I appreciate you coming on and being so open and honest, and voicing for your family. Is there anything else you might want to add?
No, ma'am. I just wanted people to I didn't want people to think that's all Tim was a degenerate or anything like that. I wanted people to know the good side of him, that he was a family man, he was very loving, he was very caring. It didn't matter he was gay. If you would have met him on the street, you might have known he was gay, but you would have fell in love with him instantly.
Well, we did kind of fall in love with him. We saw through the smoke. And that's why I wanted to have you on here. So you guys had that opportunity. And I hope that, I don't know if you probably have not watched our channel and our coverage of this case, but I'm a young channel. I'm not 20 years and 10,000 million followers. But I hope that people pick up and watch this, because they need to see this side of the coin. What people,
I've got a couple more interviews that I'm doing and reaching out to a couple more people, because I want it to get a little bit more traction, where people can see how good of a person he was.
well, let me know
And
where.
not just not what just the media is showing.
Right. Let me know when you're and who you're on, and I can go in and say, hey, support and give you the likes and the DNA. One thing about my channel is we may not get a whole lot of views right now, but what I may have 10 views, and then by tomorrow I may have 1,000. You never know.
Yes.
Never know. But thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much for your thoughts and expressions with us today. We know this isn't easy. We know that it is, but we truly appreciate your willingness to speak. I will tell you that as an emergency services chaplain who deals with a lot of grief and works with a lot of people through different stages of that process, it never goes away. It does become more. I don't ever say it becomes easier. It becomes a new reality, and I just hope in the next year or so that you can turn around and not think about court, and not think about all this horrible stuff, and just have him in your heart, and have his love and spirit with you, because you definitely are carrying it. We can see it coming through. And I didn't mean to make you cry. I did not mean to make you cry.
It's honestly the amount of support that I've seen for him it just it it fills me with so much joy because honestly, when I was in the chat on the Law and Court TV thing, I was talking to people about it and everything and letting them know. And the amount of people that didn't even know him from like Portugal and Denmark and stuff like that sending support. It shows that there is hope for the world, and that there are still good people out there.
There's a lot of bad people out there, but there's more good. And Melissa, she says, I truly wish I hadn't only met Tim the one time, but it did. And
Unfortunately,
it's a lesson. Let's see. I am sorry. It was only once. But know that you're welcome here anytime. I hope you'll come back and visit us. And but just know that if you ever need to just talk to somebody, this is my area. Outside of this here, I do work with people, and I'm here for you. I'm here for your family. I
appreciate that very much.
There's nothing anybody can do or say to make this better. Only thing we can do or say is we're sorry, and we will love y'all through it. We're here for it.
We all appreciate it. Trust me, we do. Even the ones that aren't here to say anything about it, they know. Like, I've told Mom about talking to you and everything, and she said if that's what you want to do, you can. I just don't want to. I don't. She didn't. She hated doing the first interview that she did with the New York Times because she said she felt like some backwater hick. And
you can tell I was born in the Appalachian Mountains of Tennessee, and I was adopted by East Texas hillbilly hick. So I tell people I'm a Tennessee mountain hillbilly Texas redneck. That's what I say for sure about me. I got hick and redneck in me, as they say.
yes,
but and of course we'll be following this through the appellate issue. He's going to appeal it, but I don't think we have to worry about that.
But yeah, from finding out that his attorney that he had representing him was washing his hands with him after the trial,
that's normal.
I believe this public defender is just going to be like, you can sit down.
Sometimes public defenders are just as vicious, if not more so, than the paid. How did he pay for this guy? Was it his own money?
I don't know. It might be whatever he's trying to sue Jordan for. It's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah. Yeah, we do have all kind of sorts, and we have people all over the world that watch us. So I got people in China, Europe, Australia, all over, and they were sending y'all love. Melissa, thank you so much for being here and supporting your partner. Is Melissa in the house?
No, ma'am. She's actually at work right now.
Oh, well, Melissa, I'm sorry you couldn't be here, but you're here in spirit, and thank you for hopping in. I'm asking everybody to please subscribe, help this channel grow. We do have some unique things. When a deaf person is viewing, I do go into interpretation mode, or I have a certified national interpreter for the deaf that pops in when she's not working other jobs. We want to provide more access. This channel also is very inclusive. H-E. Oh, hello. Uh-huh. Good job. Thank you so much. I appreciate
up a little. I mean, I don't honestly. I know it's weird to say, but I learned it in prison.
Yeah. Well, you don't have to drop your hand between spelling anymore. It's old school. The new way would be
okay.
Pause.
So yeah, they always told us, they said it's basically space.
Space, right? But because of because of carpal tunnel and all that kind of stuff that assigners get,
Okay.
they stopped a lot of that. Instead of 1 hour, it's hour instead of this. Instead of
Okay.
sign language, it's sign. So yeah, it's come a long way. But you did fabulous. Good on your letters. That's to
I
me
learned
that
letters. I know. I think isn't this like mom?
mom,
Mom. Okay. Is this? What's the one up here then?
uncle, boy,
Oh, okay. That's what it was. Yeah.
uncle. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, yeah. So we're just a little bit of a different channel, and we're growing at a very slow but steady pace. And I just appreciate all the support. I want to make sure that we are providing access when it's needed, because there's a lot of people who don't get access to this kind of stuff, and I just want to bring that out there. And so,
Yes.
Blake, stay in the background. I'm going to bring you off in a minute. We're going to say goodbye. Um, I need to explain what tomorrow is going to hold. For those of you who don't know, my dear friend of almost 20 years moved back to Texas this past month. Well, yesterday she's had this cough, and it got so bad that where she couldn't breathe, it was painful. She was coughing up toenails, so she went to urgent care. Long story short, yesterday they ended up taxiing her from the hospital in Kerrville to Austin, 2 hours away. I spent the night with her last night. She's got a blood clot that goes in this artery all the way down past her armpit. She's got one in her groin about the same length. She's got one in another artery. She's got a mass in her lung. She's got heart. She's really in bad shape. And I spent all night with her at the hospital. And so she's having procedures, and I'm going to be gone tomorrow. This week is going to be on the fly. We do have cases. We do have things. I've got a wonderful support team in my mods. They will be hosting the live. I will be popping in and out. It is going to be an unusual week. I just lost my sister, and this is my only other best friend. And so she is going to be priority. And I hope y'all support me in that. And right now she is stable, but a lot of things are going to be moving pretty fast in the next couple of days. So if you do not see us, please don't take it. Don't leave me. But I need to go and take care of her. She doesn't, she's family to me. So I got a wonderful team, and what we're going to try and do is get the trials up and running in Discord, and they will be running it from the back screens. I will be remote on my cell phone or iPad, popping in and out when I can. So this is going to be a little bit different this week. If we're not on, please don't get upset. She is priority. Until we know what we're dealing with. This is a very scary time for her. She knows there's high risk of cancer going on right now, and my place is with her. So I really appreciate all of you for your understanding. But we will figure this out. Just thank you so much for your patience. I will see you sometime tomorrow. Hello, Cafe Rico Flores. Thank you so much. I'll go back and rewatch. We had a wonderful guest on today. Thank you for all your questions. Thank you for all your comments. Thank you for your love and support for this young man. This family has gone through a lot, and hopefully now the next task at hand is to what we need to be praying for, or good wishes, whatever you do, is that they are able to get the remains from Herbie, of their loved one, and they can bring some closure. I've got a message here. Oh, okay. Sorry. With that, thank you so much. Y'all just joining in, please go back and rewatch. And in the meantime, remember, love on your family, hug them. Don't go to bed angry. You never know what tomorrow will bring. It may be your last. So with that, I love all of you. I appreciate all of you. Thank you for your love and support. And we will see you sometime tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Please comment, like, share, and most importantly, subscribe. I hope you have an awesome day. Till next time, take care.